Good morning, folks. How's everybody doing today? I hope you guys can hear me okay. I was doing some modifications to my sounds just before I hit the go button. So I'm not really sure how the sound is on your end today. Usually I monitor the sound from my headphones, but today, because I'm going through a new little device, I'm actually going through the device into my computer USB. So I'm actually listening to the tones of the guitar through the device and not through my DAW. So it's a little bit not as clear as it usually is to me. But if you can hear me okay, give me a thumbs up. Let me know that everything's okay. And let me know if the guitar sound is coming through okay for you guys too. Is that okay? Is it breaking up? Might be a little bit too loud. I'll make some adjustments along the way, but just let me know if it sounds okay. Good morning, guys. How are you guys doing? Hey, it's gonna be a great weekend because here in Canada, we're looking at a long weekend. It's Canada Day. And what's happening, well, it's not Canada Day yet, it's Canada Day tomorrow, but it's the Canada Day weekend. So that means that we get an extra day. Is balls loud good or bad, John? I know it's usually louder than normal. I think I'm gonna have to maybe lower it a little bit. I'm playing around with some patches. That's why I've been playing around with a new little toy here. It's my, I got a Newx MG101. It's a multi-effects. It's a small multi-effects unit. And I was actually doing a little review on it yesterday. And I wanted to actually do a little sound clip sample. So I'm just messing around with some of the patches. It's a third too loud? Yeah, probably. Let me see if I can actually just maybe perhaps adjust the overall recording level here. Let's bring it down a little bit more here. Let's see if that makes a difference in the software. Hold on. I'm not even full up on my guitar yet here, so let me just lower the sound. Does that make a difference? I don't know, guys. Still too loud? You know what they say, guys, if it's too loud, you're too old. Just kidding, just kidding. I know you guys are not, you're not old. So, hey, as I was saying, Canada Day weekend is here, which is fantastic because we get an extra day. So tomorrow is a day off. And so I'm going to enjoy an extra day. And that's always fantastic because sometimes you need to recharge those batteries. You know what I mean, guys? You hear me? You're with me? Hope you guys are doing well. If you guys are tuning in for the first time, the Addicted to Gear channel is live every Sunday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. At least we try to be. And then during the week, I usually put out at least one video per week, sometimes more. It depends on my schedule, where I review a bunch of, gear, basically. So if you guys are into gear, like, as you can probably tell, I am, have a small problem when it comes to gear. And that's why the channel's called Addicted to Gear, and it's open to everybody. And Sunday is the time that we spend time together, community time, And I look forward to our Sundays together because it's a lot of fun. We talk about a lot of great subjects. We see who's been doing what, who's been buying, who's been selling, and it's all good. It's all fun. So today we have a lot of stuff to talk about as per usual. It's show 214 already, and I'm looking forward to you know, the rest of the summer making some other good content. So I want to say hi to everybody that's here and that's joining us for the first time. If you are joining us for the first time, maybe just type in new so we know who you are. And don't be shy. Nobody bites here. If you have any gear related questions or, you know, subjects you want to talk about, just throw them in the chat. Okay. So welcome, guys. Gene is here. Zach is here. Vox is here. Vox says he's got a new gear alert. Okay, fantastic. Let's hear it. So he says he picked up a 40-watt PA amp last week. 20 bucks on Marketplace. Sounds good and has a built-in radio too. Dude, 20 bucks. That's a great deal. Nice. Are you planning on using that PA amp for rehearsals? Are you using it by yourself or with a band? What's the reason for picking it up? Or was it just too good of a deal for 20 bucks? You decided to grab it, you know? I have a hard time passing up good deals. When I see something that's too good to be true, even though I don't really need it, I'll usually end up grabbing it because I figure at the end of the day, if I don't use it, I can always flip it, right? Okay, Paul says just a little bit more down. Okay, let's see. I'll bring it down to -3 dBs here on my recording level. Playback level. Let me just bring that down maybe. Let's see if this helps. Let me see if this helps. All right, let me just... I don't think it's making a big difference. That's why they put a volume knob on the guitar. Still too loud? You guys are my ears today, so you let me know, okay? Casey said he bought a 2015 Jaguar, 1982 Gibby Sonics, and a 1968 Gibby Melody Maker SG. Wow, dude. What did you do? Did you win the lottery or something, dude? That's fantastic, man. 3 guitars in 1 week. I don't think I've ever purchased 3 guitars in 1 week. Ever. I usually space them out a little bit because otherwise I get in trouble, but that's fantastic. And all older models too. An 82, a 68, and a 2015. Nice. Which one is your favorite out of the bunch, Casey, so far? And why all of a sudden? Like, why all 3 guitars? Did they come like as a package? Did you set out to go and buy one and then stumble on the others? Or what's going on? Seems a little unusual, even for us gear addicted people. Vox says he bought it to run his modeler through it. Okay, I see. So basically the PA is for your modelers. It's got cab sims. So that's pretty cool. He says it sounds pretty good, unlike my playing. Now, Vox, come on. You know, don't be hard on yourself. Shane says it's kind of loud. Yeah, I think I'm redlining. When the guitar was turned down, it was perfect. Okay, so I'll leave it to the guitars. I won't go past 5 on the guitar. Casey Lee says, company bones this week. And Cool Tune says, hello, Tony. Hello, everybody. Presley's here with the Keep on Rocking sign here. And Profile Productions too. Fantastic. Great. Let me see. I'm just going down. I think somebody else had a comment that I overlooked here. Shane says, I'm looking at a pig nose travel guitar. 30 bucks. Are you out of the doghouse yet, Shane? Just be careful, dude. Even though it's 30 bucks, you know, a guitar is a guitar. We all know it's a sensitive time at your place. Or maybe that's over now. I don't know. Hopefully it is. Ben says, Tony, I was thinking about you this past week when a used Fractal FM9 popped up on the Long and McQuaid Gear Hunter page, used gear, for I think $1,850. Good deal. It didn't last long. They never pop up. Yeah, it is a good deal. It's an excellent deal. If it's in good condition, even more. $1,800. Yeah, I'm not surprised it didn't last long. Usually whenever something comes up and it lasts more than a day or so, it may not be a good deal. I actually came really close, guys, so close to actually getting tempted by a Marshall amp this weekend, also on Marketplace. Thankfully, the fellow sold it. Well, actually, thankfully. I always say it's a sign when you see a guitar or an amplifier and, you're looking at it, you're lusting over it, and, for some reason it's not selling, and you can grab it. And when you grab it, you end up with a really nice piece of gear. And sometimes, you're looking at something and it's gone immediately. I don't really down it that much. I don't really worry about it that much because I figured if it's gone for a reason. I don't know if the posting is still on Marketplace here, but let me just take a quick look if it is, because I wanted to show you this thing. And I'm always scouring it, I'm always scouring Marketplace. Yeah, well, the picture is still there, at least. Let me see if I could, hold on. Let me see if I can actually, if it'll let me share this picture. Probably not. Let me just show it to you this way. Here, guys. Can you see that? Isn't that a beautiful Marshall? This is a replica, actually. It's not a real Marshall. Can you see it? Kind of hard to see, probably, right? So the cabinet didn't come with it. It is a Fender cab. But basically, this fellow had it's a Marshall Super Lead. It's basically a clone. It's a 50-watt Super Lead, but it's a Metropolis Marshall. So I don't know if you guys know who Metropolis is, but he's a fellow that makes really, really high-end quality replicas of Marshalls. And his stuff is really expensive. Like if you buy any kind of Marshall from him directly, you're gonna pay a lot of money. I think right now, and I don't even know if he's in the States. I think he may be in the States. Let me just pull up the website here, if I can. You might know about him already. You may know, but I'm going to share it with you guys here. Let me just do this. All right, can you see this? So basically, this is the Metropolis Amplifications website, and they have some beautiful, really beautiful Marshall replicas. His take on it, he's kind of like Dave Friedman. He comes up with his own flavor for these, but he actually makes clones. So they do sound very, very close to the original, but they're, they're modern versions, but they're still point to point, all handmade, and they cost a fortune, but they have some additional features and functions. So for example, here he has a William Duval signature amp, which is going for $3,799. I'm pretty sure this is US. He's got the classic Metroplex here, which you can buy, and it's $3,550. It says it's the answer for everyone who dreams of authentic plexi tones with modern features and convenience. So he kind of tweaks them. He starts off with the basic, I guess, circuit, and then he makes his own version. So if you're looking for replicas, he's got those as well here. This is a beautiful plexi replica, 45100 replica here, but there's no prices here, unfortunately. But they're expensive, man. I'm sure all of these amps are probably around the $3,000 price range. Anyway, long story short, I saw this guy. He popped up with this amp, and he was asking $1,500, which is very, very inexpensive. $1,500 is not much, man. You won't even get a real, an old run-of-the-mill Marshall for that price. But unfortunately, he sold it very quickly. As soon as I saw it, it was listed for a couple of hours. I already contacted him. I'm like, hey, I want to come and see it. I figured it wouldn't hurt to go check it out. But then afterwards, I'm like, you know what? I'm probably, I have my heart set on that Friedman Plex amp, and I'm like, I don't want to do it. You know, I don't want to be tempted by something else. And it sold almost immediately. Like within half a day, it was gone. And I'm not surprised. I figured, you know, it would probably go very fast at that price. But things happen for a reason, you know. Hey, Retromatic, how's it going? He says, I'm almost in Canada this morning, hanging out in Whitefish, Montana for the summer. Bought Seafoam, Roasted Maple Neck, Player Strat, and Spark Go with me. Planning to do some setup. Very cool. Hey, have a fun time, man. Hey, if you ever, you know, if you come closer to Canada, let me know. Shane says his amp wish is a Fender bass breaker and a Rev. So both of them. Why both, Shane? How come not one or the other? Why are you looking at both of them? I used to have a bass breaker. I don't know if you saw my videos on that. I did some video reviews, I think, on the bass breaker quite a while ago. I love the smell of Marshall in the morning too, Vox. Especially the tubes. You know, when the tubes start sizzling, that's, you know, that's what you want to have in the morning. And Shane's been busy buying and selling. So he sold a 1978 Lefty Greco Les Paul to a guy in Australia back in January. Well, that's good, Shane. I mean, you know, stuff coming in, stuff going out. You know, you gotta breathe, right? In, out, in, out. It's not good to take, you know, too many long breaths in, and your bank account kind of goes like this, you know. So you gotta. It's all a question of balance. Vox says, my neighbor Morris Amps makes Marshall-y amps. Fantastic but expensive. I know Morris Amps. I've heard of them. He's your neighbor? That's really cool, man. Hey, you know, say, go over to him. Say, hey, neighbor, you know, can you spare an amp or two? Instead of asking him to borrow some sugar, maybe you should ask him to see if you can borrow an amp from time to time. Profile says, I played last night, packed house, glad the fire marshal didn't show up. Where was this, man? Where did you play? Fantastic. If it was a packed house, I hope it was a good set. Everything turned out okay in the end. So D-Max says, I've seen people talking up the Fractal MF3. I'm Fractal illiterate. It's more entry level for them, right? It is a little bit, well, I mean, the Fractal stuff still has a pretty steep learning curve in general. So the FM3 is a more simple version, yeah, than the FM9. And less expensive too. Vox has been thinking about a 20-watt Marshall for a while, but can't decide between that and a Trainer 30-watt combo. Dude, I don't want to influence you, but if it was me, I'd go for the Marshall, man. You can't go wrong with a Marshall. Those you know, the studio vintage lines that they came out with are great. You know, if you want to get something a little bit more modern, you go for the one that is basically an emulation of the 800. Sounds pretty sweet. You can also go for the studio vintage, the 20H like I have. I love it. And it's great because it cleans up nice as well, and you put some pedals in front of it. You can get any kind of tone you really want to get out of it. It's fantastic. And the other added advantage is that you can resell it relatively quickly. The Trainers don't sell as easily. You know, not that many people are looking for Trainers, really. But the Marshalls are always popular. Eddie says, Tony, guys, are the legs of pickups the same size, hole to hole, regardless of F spacing versus regular? I'm not sure if I follow. Are the legs of the pickups the same size, hole to hole, regardless of the F spacing? Are you talking about, so when you say the legs, are you talking about where the screw goes in to hold the pickup? Usually, yes, it's the same place. The hole size may vary, though. holes are not always the same size. Yeah, the F spacing is really just the spacing between the pickup magnets. But the pickup itself, the legs are pretty much the same. The length, though, will vary, though. You can get legs that are long and legs that are short. So make sure the cavity inside your guitar is appropriate for the length of those legs, because otherwise you're going to have to take the hacksaw to it. Dewey 7330. Hey Dewey, are you new, man? Are you new around here? I don't think I've heard you comment before. Well, welcome, dude. He says, I love my Marshall DSL 40 CR. I wish the reverb was a little better. It's a good reverb, just not enough of it. Well, I mean, you can always get an external reverb pedal or something like that. There's tons on the market. So that's not a big issue in my opinion. A lot of people do like those DSLs. And they're not that expensive. You can still, you can find quite a few of them used on the market. So that's another option for sure. All right, so Eddie got his answer. Guys, please give me some thumbs up. There's only 16. What's going on? Did I piss anybody off here? Is it something I said? If you can give me some thumbs up, I would appreciate it. It's always great to see, the same amount of people as the same amount of thumbs. That's always a good sign. Mississippi Blues, welcome, dude. He says, hi, Tony. Tony, any advice for tackling my first refret? Wow, yeah, that's a great question. Refrets are not easy. So first of all, I applaud you for trying to tackle that. First, make sure you have, is this, as a first refret, it's a little bit, I would say, stressful. Because if you're popping off all the frets, you can easily damage the slots and the fretboard. So I would say go really slow. Heat up the frets with a little, if you have a soldering iron, heat up the frets before you try and pull them out. It just like loosens the slot a little bit. If there's any glue in there, softens it up. Go very slow. Don't try and just rip them out, because then you're gonna get splintering and all kinds of issues. So I would say start with that. Once you have all the frets off, it's a good opportunity to clean the slots. So just go through the slots, clean them up, making sure everything is nice and tidy in there. And then, of course, when you put the frets back in, seating the frets is very important. So the reason why I say it's challenging is because, well, A, it's time consuming, because then you have to not only put in new frets, you have to make sure everything's seated properly. Then you still have to do, you still have to check the heights of the fret. Don't assume that all the frets are going to be perfect, even though they're brand new. So you might have to level them. You might have to recrown them. You might have to, you're going to definitely have to polish the ends. So it requires a lot of attention, and it does require a lot of tools too. So I don't know if you have all of the tools that you need to do something like that, but if you do, then that's a great starting point. If you don't have the tools or the proper tools, I'm gonna say, like, wait till you have the proper tools, because you can easily mess things up, and refrets are expensive. I would definitely say listen to the advice here. Definitely practice on a cheap guitar first, I would say. So if you didn't mention if this was a good guitar or like a throwaway guitar, but I would say, like, get yourself a scrap neck somewhere for, $30-40. They're floating around, the internet all over the place. Just buy one, even if it's a beater, and try there first. And once you get the hang of it, then you gain confidence and you can start improving your technique and skills, and everyone after that will be even better. John's a wise, he's making wise cracks over here. He's saying, refret advice: make sure you have the neck facing the correct way before pushing in the frets. I don't know if you're joking about that. Music and Gear says, selling my VHT Special 9 Ultra head. If someone wants it, $225 plus shipping to you guys. Just not my thing. The head is mint. Those amps were quite popular a little while ago, and they're still floating around. There's still a lot of them floating around out there, but I get it if it doesn't, tickle your fancy anymore. $225 is a reasonable price, I think. So yeah, if somebody's interested in picking it up, Music and Gear, just contact him. Maybe you can work out some kind of a deal. So Eddie says he's hard mounting an F-Space because it's all good, but when I get a regular, I want to just drop it into the same screw holes. I gotcha. Just be careful if you're hard mounting it. Don't go through the body, man. Sometimes you think you have a lot more wood in the back of the guitar, inside the routing of the guitar, but you can easily go through there if you're a little bit too enthusiastic with the drill there. Be careful. It's happened. You don't want a screw sticking out the back of your guitar. If you're not sure, you can always build it up and maybe put a little shim, just like glue a little shim in there with glue that you could remove easily, just to keep it in place, and then screw into that. And William De Silva says, have you heard of Splon amps? Of course, man. Yeah. They've been around for a long time. He says they frickin' rip when needed and have a sweet, clean channel as well. Yeah, the Splon, they've been around for ages. I even I kind of forget about them. I don't know why. Because they're not as active, I guess, anymore. They used to be a lot more popular. I was seeing them a lot more frequently on the internet, on YouTube and whatnot. But yeah, they're still around. I love them. At one point, I was considering getting one of those. But I got a problem, so you know me. Check it out. Looks like a hot rod or something, right? High performance guitar amplifiers. Let's see if they have any prices here. This one's pretty sweet. Throwback to the 90s, the 80s, the 90s. What do they got here? Oh, they got prices. Yeah, 2500, 2200, 2000, 1800. The Splon 2024 Super Comp 50. That looks cool. That kind of looks like a studio vintage Marshall with a few extras there. Interesting. 1008, not too bad. Shipping 50% deposit. I think these are still made by hand. I don't know if they're point to point anymore. There's an 8-week lead time on it. So 50 watts, you get an overdrive. So you got 3 modes. Rhythm, lead. It says 3 modes, but overdrive, OD1, OD2, 3 gear modes. Gear is basically Hot Rod Plexi, Hot Rod 800, and Super Hot Rod 800. Wow. So basically you're getting yourself a modded Marshall here. Fully loaded with old new switch, mid-cut switch, 4-button foot switch, solo boost. Nice. 3 head box sizes, so you can get the mini plexi, the wide and tall, and the mid size as well. And then there's a few videos. I don't want to play the videos right now, but yeah, these amps are great. I was following them and interested in these amps for a long time. Never ended up buying one, but at $1,800, it's not a bad price, I'm gonna say. Very tempting. There's a lot of great things out there. So William, are you considering getting one of these? Is that why you're looking at them? Why you're eyeballing them? Don't look at them too close, man. You're gonna get erotic dreams in the middle of the night. You're gonna be dreaming about Splon amps. You're like, oh, I gotta get one. So William says, yeah, Scott Splon is into cars too, so he names all his amps based on cars. I just picked up the Quick Rod 100. It's a killer. Yeah, the Quick Rod is one of his most popular, I think. And that's also been around forever. 100, man, that's loud, dude. Where are you playing stadiums? Where are you gonna play a 100-watt amp? Oh man, I hope you have an attenuator or your neighbors are very far away from you. Hopefully you have lots of space. Wow. All right. Well, congratulations on that. You're gonna love that amp. So Vox says, I don't have any high performance guitars, so I don't need a Splon, right? Right. I don't think that's the way it works, unfortunately. So Danielle says, measured fret height on my arch top. Most are 1.2 millimeters when new. Have used one guitar where I measure 0.9 millimeters. I see a lot of wear on the frets, but debate if I want to re-level again. 1.2, 0.9. Look, I mean, I wouldn't just re-level for no reason. If you're feeling like, you know, the frets are getting scratchy, or you're starting to see divots in the frets, or, you know, something's starting to fret out when you're doing the bends, then it's time. But if you don't have any of those issues, I wouldn't necessarily go for a re-level again. I mean, you don't want to re-level too often. There's only so much, you know, metal on those frets. But, you know, why are you measuring, Danielle? Is it because you noticed an issue, or you're just like, you know, anal that way? You just like to have everything perfect, you know? Not to be rude or anything. I mean, I get that. I get that way too sometimes. So it could be either or. I'm just asking. Oh, man. Hey, this week I actually heard something that was a little disturbing. I heard this on somebody's channel on YouTube. I just, you know, was scrolling around, and let me just see if I can find. Hold on a second. All right, so yeah, basically what I heard was disturbing because it involved two companies, Blackstar and I don't know if you know Blue Guitar. Blue Guitar, here, I'll show you who they are. These guys. You may be familiar with them. So Blue Guitar basically is a, it's just like an amp that is basically not tube driven. It's all transistor, and it's made to emulate like a guitar amp in a box, but it's transistor. It's made by this guy. And basically they were interviewing him, and he makes great quality stuff. I mean, these things sound really good. So if somebody's looking for an alternative to a tube amp, let's say you're rehearsing, you don't want to lug around all kinds of equipment or whatever, you just want something that's going to be a grab and go solution, you grab one of these things. And you have basically an amp in a box, okay? So a lot of people like this type of solution. But what ended up happening, and this is where things get disturbing, he was saying, the gentleman that makes this, was saying that he noticed that Blackstar, and you know what Blackstar is, the company that makes amps. I used to have a Blackstar. Let me see if I can pull up the information on their website here. So Blackstar apparently came out with a product which is basically, according to the gentleman who makes that product, a ripoff of his product. So I'm just trying to see if it's here on their website, if I can find it. But apparently he's saying that, you know, he's looked at it and he can see that they've blatantly taken some of the technology and copied it, and in his opinion, in a worse way, because you know, they did things that perhaps they should not have done. I don't know if it's this one. I don't want to tell you guys the wrong thing, but I think it could be this product right over here, which is, it's called the amp pedal, 100-watt amp pedal. Anyway, whether it's this one or not, there is a product apparently that was copied, and I don't think that's right, man. You know, like, people shouldn't necessarily rip other people off. He has this product, and it's been made, you know, he's developed it a long time ago. It's been on the market for a long time, and I have no problem with getting influenced by, you know, someone else. I mean, if you look at it, all you know, Marshall wouldn't be around if they weren't trying to copy the you know, the old Marshall amplifiers, the old basement amps, you know. So they're all being influenced by one another, but they're not necessarily copying the technology. I don't know if there's any way you can protect yourself, copyright things. I mean, there must be ways that you can do that, but it's probably very expensive. So, you know, it just left a bad taste in my mouth, and I would think that you know, I like the Black Star brand overall, but, you know, if they're starting to do things like that, I'm gonna have to spend my money elsewhere, I think. Shane says 90% of the guitar gear is a rip-off of something else. I mean, yeah, it's true. You know, how many pedals out there are basically based on a Tube Screamer, for example? You know, especially in the pedal world, you know, there's people making clones of all kinds of things, and, you know, they sound very similar to one another. After a while, you can't even tell them apart, right? They've been doing that forever. But there's a difference between, you know, putting your own flavor on it and, you know, downright trying to copy or clone something. So anyway, just wanted to bring it up in case you heard of that story. So Paul says that the pedal of the week is a headphone. Replace my 4-year-old ones with the same Tech One Vortex, $325 USD. So good I bought 2, as I fear one day no more. So these headphones are costing you $3.25. Am I understanding correctly here? Am I missing something? Tech One Vortex? I gotta see this. So you bought these where, on Amazon or something? I see them on Amazon. I don't think they're available on Amazon. I think they're probably sold out. You can get these at Dollarama or something, can't you? $4. I mean, how are you sure? Paul, are you fooling with me? $4 and they're good? Honestly? Okay, I'll take your word for it, man. I might have to buy some for my kids. Steven says Bill Gates ripped off the Apple desktop and called it Windows. Yeah, kind of, I guess. Yeah, when you're starting to see the deep divots, I agree with Presley. It's time to do the leveling. It is a shame, D-Mac. You know, it just, there's enough of a pie so everybody can get a slice out there. If you're a company and you're developing musical gear, I mean, do something new. Sorry for my my hands, guys. Look at my hands. I've been building stuff in the garage, and I've been working with construction adhesive. So as you can see, I got some on my hands and it doesn't come off easy. So yeah, it's not because my hands are dirty. That's glue. So if you have any tips on getting glue off of your hands, let me know. Dan says, unless they directly stole the software, it's impossible to protect circuit design. Yeah, I know. It's really difficult. It's really difficult. And then if you get tied up in court, forget it, man. It's going to cost you a freaking fortune. Unfortunately, the small guy can't compete with the bigger companies. What are you going to do, right? What are you going to do? You can't. You know what I mean? So Jeff says Blackstar used the same specifically designed transformers. Also, the Blue Guitar amp is called Amp 1 and Blackstar called theirs Amped 1. Yeah, that was what I understood too. The transformers were the reason why he kind of was tipped off to the fact that they were stealing his design, because they were specific, you know. So in this particular case, maybe he has a leg to stand on because of the specifics of it, right? Because transformers, from what I understand, are all kind of wound to spec individually. And if it's, you know, a specific wind, a specific design, you know, it's a lot easier to fight in court and prove that, hey, you had that design before them. But what does that mean at the end of the day? It basically means a lot of money down the drain, I think. Hey, Dan, how's it going, dude? Dan the man. Party has started. Dan is here. Let's see. Pedals remind me of store-bought fireworks. They all look cool and promising, but most do much the same thing. Yeah, it kind of is true. You know, I've experienced that firsthand. What I can tell you about my my firsthand experience with a lot of pedals is that they do kind of do the same thing, but what I noticed is that they don't all react the same way with different gear. So what I want to explain by that is that if you're using these, you know, similar pedals with a similar amp, they might sound the same overall. But what I've noticed is that similar pedals with different amps will do different things. So if I play, let's say, this pedal here, which is my my Ghost Drive, right, which is a kind of a clone. If I play this with my my Princeton, my hand-wired Princeton amp, for example, it'll sound different with that amp than if I played with, let's say, my Friedman Dirty Shirley. Of course, they're different circuits, so they will react differently. You know, so there's one pedal might not do it for me with one amp, but it really shines with another one. And this is why it's fun to experiment with different pedals and different amp combinations till you find the right one. Pumice? Yeah, maybe Pumice would work, Vinny. I'm gonna have to, like, I'm not finished, so I'm gonna, right after the show, I'm gonna continue. I got some more stuff to build, so I'm gonna be doing that right after. So I'll wait till I'm all done and then break out the Pumice, as long as I don't mess up my guitars. There's always something else to do, you know. You start one project, before you finish that one, you get an idea to work on another project, and so on and so forth. So acetone says, my niece hurts, says acetone removes glue and many other things, like nitro lacquer. I don't know if I want to put acetone on my hands though, but I might have no choice. I'm gonna check it out, Paul. $4, $4.28 Dollarama. Maybe it's the patch. This one's way better. Just to show you what I'm working with here, if I could pull up the information here. Where is it? Where is my tool? Here it is. Boom. Yeah, this is what I'm playing right now. So as you can tell, it's kind of like a little bit It's a Brit 800 that I'm using on this patch, but as you can see, it sounds a little thin. So I want to fatten it up. This is the software that comes with the Newx MG101, by the way. So you can change the cab, you can change the microphone. Like right now, the microphone's on the edge of the speaker. If I push it into the middle, it'll change it a little bit. But I feel like I'm missing a lot of the bottom, and that's also because the bass here is dialed way down. So the treble's way high, the presence is way high, and I don't particularly like this mic. We can change the mic and use something else. Let's try this one here. That one's a little bit shrill. Let's go to this guy. And of course, we can always do the the EQ trick. Just give it a little bit more fullness here. Bring down the highs here a little bit, not much. Sounds a little bit better to me. We'll save that patch. It's a pretty cool tool. I like the modulation effects that they have here. Like they have a nice selection. Like here we have like a little bit. I'll just bring down the volume. We'll bring down. I can't even bring down the level, but. Yeah, we'll just save that. So you can waste a lot of time with these tools, but it's a lot of fun, you know? I really like playing around with these things, and if you're interested in the MG101, you're going to be able to check out my video on it later this week. William says acetone is known by the state of California to cause cancer. Yeah, I think everything basically in California causes cancer, from what I understand. I wanted to also bring up a couple of interesting things that I've heard this week. One of the most important one is that it looks like Fender is gonna be heading back to NAMM. So if you guys have been following the NAMM events, I mean, I like the whole hoopla around NAMM because it's like Christmas. Everybody, you know, is showing all the great stuff. And I have yet to go down to one of the shows. I got to get down at one point and just go, but it's a little far. They're back in Anaheim. And basically, Fender announced that they're going to be participating in NAMM again. I think it's been 4 or 5 years that they've basically snubbed NAMM. And at one point, the president of Fender, Andy Mooney, said that's it, like we're not interested in going to NAMM anymore. And so, you know, they dropped out, and Gibson dropped out, and I think PRS dropped out at some point, and I think even Boss at one point. So, you know, you get rid of all those big names, and it really takes the sizzle out of the show. And now apparently they've changed their minds. Apparently Fender's decided, hey, we're going to be going back to NAMM, which is hopefully good news. And it means if Fender's going to be there, then of course, you know, their direct competition is going to want to be there. So probably Gibson will maybe show up again. And I think things are going to be turning around. I think what ended up happening, in my opinion, is that, you know, during COVID, everybody went crazy. Everybody was staying home playing guitars. So the guitar sales went through the roof, right? Fender was claiming that they sold uber amounts of guitars over that period of time. And I think they got a little cocky. I think at that point they probably thought, you know what, we don't need the show. We can, you know, sales are going great. Why invest or spend money in the show? But now I think things are coming back to reality, and I think they're starting to realize that, hey, it's not that easy to keep up the momentum, and we do need shows like NAMM to stimulate the music community. And, you know, it is a community. I think if everybody tries to do it alone, it's a lot harder than if you do it as a group. So I'm happy about the news. Has anybody here been to NAMM? I'm curious to see, you know, if it was pre Fender dropping out or post Fender dropping out, but I think a lot of things have changed over the last little while at these shows. The last ones were kind of like, meh, not really that great. I think the last two shows were kind of like teetering on the edge of like, is the show gonna disappear or not? But I think hopefully things are turning around. I gotta go. It's on my bucket list. I gotta go. At one point, I gotta get there. Steven says, I cleaned fiberglass resin off my hands with it during my boating building period. So I guess it works. And my Niesert says the MSDS safety sheet says acetone is okay for skin contact for short times. I use it almost daily. I don't think you want to do that, dude. I don't think you want to do it daily. I think it's not good for your kidneys. I think actually there was a story about Liberace at one point passing out or being found unconscious or something in his dressing room. He was using acetone, I think, to like polish his studded capes that he had, you know, to make them shine again. And he got it on his skin, and apparently he kind of like he passed out after a while. So don't do that. Don't expose yourself to harmful chemicals if you don't have to, man. Take care of yourself. So Rico says, I went in 2020 and it was awesome. Rico, did you catch NAMM while you were there? A lot of people claim that's what happens when you go to these trade shows. There's so many people and so many like bugs floating around that you come back with something, some cold or flu or whatever it is. They call it NAMM. Vox says, I just got notification from Monoprice that the 30-watt tube amp is back in stock. That's good news. So if anybody's looking to get an inexpensive low wattage tube amp, you can grab one now. Hey, with, you know, Canada Day here and the 4th of July just around the corner, I'm sure there's going to be some other great deals floating around. I don't know if you guys have seen anything interesting you want to share with us. If you spot anything interesting in the wild, guys, you got to let us know. That's the deal that we have here. If you're on this show and you're, you know, participating in the Sunday chats and you come across something interesting in the wild, it's your due diligence to share with the group. All right. Danielle says, I find it difficult to estimate value for high-end, small volume, luthier-made guitars. I was surprised I got my Benedetto mint for 30% less. Available new ones move within a few days. I think that's the tricky part of expensive boutique guitars, because they're super expensive to buy, but like anything else, like when you buy a a car, you drive it off the lot, you lose 30%, right off the bat. So, a lot of people are just waiting for those great handmade boutique guitars to pop up on the used market because they can grab it for a steal. I have a couple guitars like that, and I know that if I sell them, I'm gonna have to drop my price substantially. So unless I'm willing to lose money on the deal, you can wait to buy used, but sometimes it's very difficult to get the precise guitar you're looking for. But they do pop up from time to time. So either you buy used and save yourself 30%, or you bite the bullet, buy brand new and hang on to the guitar forever. But if you intend to buy the guitar new and flip it, you're going to be losing a lot of money. But it is tricky. It is tricky. And you also have to consider, like, if somebody's buying or selling one of these guitars used, how motivated are they? If they're very motivated, you can get them for a steal. Vinny says he saw some posts about a $799 Gibson Studio Lite in some guitar centers in the Gibson group. Yeah, I'm not really convinced about those Studio Lights. Even at $800, I don't know. My knees hurt says I've been putting my bare hands into acetone daily for years. I do wear a legit aspirator. I work with some gnarly chemicals. Well, dude, man, you should stop doing that, because eventually that will catch up to you, dude. Rico says, yep, got the NAMM Thrax. Of course, months later, rumor was we all got COVID. NAMM was January 2020. I don't know. I mean, who knows? I think even pre and post, epidemic, I think people still come out of those things with bugs, because, you're shaking hands with people, you're close talking with people all day long. I don't really believe you can get away from not catching a cold at the very least. I'm not a germaphobe, but it's just, it's a fact. It's a fact of life. I know that recently Marshall also announced that they were going to be releasing a special 100-year Celestion cabinet, which is basically handcrafted. It's a Studio JTM head and cabinet, apparently. So a downsized version of the Marshall JTM 45 head. Now this is not, I don't think it's a Studio vintage model. It's just basically a downsized version of their JTM 45. And it does come with a matching cabinet with some very special speakers, according to them. And this is all to celebrate their 100-year anniversary. So it's a 20-watt JCM, JTM, not the JCM. I like the JTMs. I really wanted to get one at a certain point. So you're basically getting a 20-watt JTM, same wiring formula for the tubes. So you're getting the ECC 83s in the preamp. You're getting the 5881 power tubes and the ECC 83 in the phase shifter segment of the amp, and they're combining the head with the Celestion 100 Alnico speakers. So these are speakers that were unveiled in 2024 at NAMM, I think. So it's basically a 1x12 cabinet that matches the head's cream covering. Beautiful looking amplifier, man. It looks fantastic. And the speaker's been specially designed for the this milestone. Of course, how much is this thing gonna cost you? Probably a pretty penny, but I think it's worth it if you're a big fan of the JTM, because you're getting a really beautiful package here. It's going to be $2,612. I'm itching to hear some sounds. If I can hear what this thing sounds like, I think the JTMs are fantastic. But if I didn't have my heart already set on that Friedman Plex, I'd be tempted by so many other amps. Too many amps, not enough time, unfortunately. They didn't say whether or not this is a limited run, but I'm assuming it is because it's you know, to celebrate the 100-year anniversary or so. So I don't know if you're going to be able to get these for a long time or not. Temptations, temptations. What are you going to do? And Cushman says, hey, Tony, I was on the Under the Bus Network stream. I won in an MXR EVH Phase 90. Just wanted to tell you. Well, congratulations, dude. I never win anything. Fantastic, man. Those are great little phase pedals. Fantastic. You got good luck, man. See, good karma. It's coming back to you. Congratulations, dude. The other thing also, we're on the subject of amplifiers here. Mesa Boogie's also releasing something. They're celebrating a milestone as well, 40 years of partnership with John Petrucci, right? So John Petrucci has been endorsing the Mesa Boogie line for 40 years already. How could that even be possible? How old is John now? Anyways, they're coming up with a anniversary version of what they're calling the modern Mark IIc Plus, and apparently it's the most aggressive sounding, the most modern sounding Mark IIc ever. So they're pulling a page out of the Apple playbook there. You know, it's the best ever, you know. So basically, this amplifier is going to be a combo as well. I think we all are familiar with the Petrucci sound. I'm not necessarily in the market for something like that myself, but you know, a lot of people do love the Mesa Boogie amplifiers. And now that Mesa's owned by Gibson, it's going to be interesting to see if they can knock this one out of the park. Of course, you know, you're going to have all the bells and whistles of the other one. If any of you have used the Mesa Boogie amplifiers, you know how tricky they are to dial in because they're so sensitive. And I'm pretty sure that this one's going to be no different. It's going to have a whole bunch of tweakability built in for sure. The only thing that's kind of choking me a little bit over here is that it costs $4,299. What? Holy mackerel. So yeah, if you're a big fan, you better start saving your money, man. Put those pennies in the little piggy bank because you're gonna need a lot of them. $4,299 is what it's gonna cost you to get these limited run amps now. So yeah, again, I don't know, man. I think everybody's going crazy on the prices. Going crazy on the prices. You're better off, like, you know, if you're going to be a musician today, you better, you know, have a day job where you're a lawyer or a doctor or a dentist or something like that, because that's the only way you're going to be able to afford gear in the coming years. It's always going up and going crazy. So I don't know, guys. I don't know where we're going to end up here. But it is what it is. We got to deal with it. If you want the gear, you got to find a way to make the money. Anyways, I think we're going to wrap it up. We're going to just look at one other question because I started the show with the poll question and I mentioned that I never actually owned a rat pedal. And a lot of you have commented and answered the poll question. So I want to see what you guys have to say, because I was thinking about it recently. I'm like, you know, this is one pedal I never actually owned, and it's been around for a long time. And I'm thinking, like, is it time? Should I actually go and get one? I mean, you can still find them pretty easily. They pop up regularly. But I'm not sure I actually need one or want one. So I'm like, let me ask the guys, see what they have to say. So let me go to the community and pull up the poll question here. So the poll question was, I never owned a Proco rat pedal. Am I missing out? So 34% of you said maybe it's worth trying. Like, you know, give it a shot. Maybe yes, maybe no. 34%, not a high number. Like I was expecting more people to say, yeah, it's a great pedal, go grab it. But less than 34% of you were saying like, maybe go and get it. The next highest vote result here was 23% of you said, yes, but it depends on your style. And I understand that answer. I mean, of course, it's not made for everybody. But only 23% said yes. We have a tie at 16% after that. Some of you said, 16% of you said, not really, there's better options. Another 16% said, no, you're not missing out. And only 11% of you said, absolutely, it's a game changer. So I wonder why there's so much difference in the answers there. It doesn't seem like it's a clear yes to me. So if I look at some of the comments, I got somebody here says, don't own a single pedal and have never needed one. Save your money and practice. Can't argue with that. We should all save our money and practice more. I think it's good advice for everybody. Someone else here says, I bought my first Rat in 1988. He bought it in 88 and it was his first pedal. So he opted for the Rat as his first choice in 1988. So this pedal's been around a long time. Farid said, never had a Rat pedal, but a friend of mine loved his. And Blackstar said it's only good for grunge. I don't really play grunge, so there you go. Someone else says, I don't use any overdrive pedals, using my amp, but one my favorite I heard on YouTube is just a Friedman BE overdrive pedal. I have two pedals, Tube Screamer Mini and MXR Phase 90 Custom Shop. My Iron Ball SE has verb, delay, and noise gate, which is very good. So I don't know. All that to say, should I get one? I still don't get it. Someone else here says, I don't really like what pedals do to my amp tone, and that's why I use an old white face Rat pedal and a gold clone. Since these two pedals react like an amplifier, the Rat is a great pedal. So there you got a vote for one of the Rats. And our very own My Knees Hurt says, I just got a Joyo Rat clone and I like the Rat sound. So there you go. So there's some people that like them, some people that don't. Here we have Vinny's World says, if you had any pedal that's based on the same circuit but with more functions, then you're not missing out. That being said, if you want to buy it just to have it, I don't see why not. Yeah, I mean, you know, maybe that's what I'll do. I'll just try it for myself at some point and see whether or not I like it. Worst comes to worst, you flip it. One more pedal, one less pedal. What difference is it going to make at this point, right? And then, of course, we had somebody here that's a smart ass, and he says, I have two pedals, both on my mountain bike. There's always one in the bunch, you know. I don't really think that... My Knees Hurt says, do you play the kind of music that would require a Rat pedal? I mean, I don't know. That's an interesting question. Is there, like, do the pedals you play determine the sounds that you make with it? I mean, what I mean is, just because you're playing a Phase 90, does that mean you have to play Van Halen? You can use it for other stuff. You know, I guess most people that play Rat pedals will play, as somebody has said earlier, grunge or that type of more aggressive music, but I don't think you have to. Is it in the, is there a law that you have to do that? I'm not really sure. And Vinny's World says, exactly, we don't discourage buying gear here. So maybe I'm asking the question in the wrong group. You know, you guys are going to for sure say, yeah, you should grab one. Casey says, I don't need a Rat, but I'm gassing for a clone. Well, dude, if you're gassing for a clone, my my vote is this one. If you're handy and you can build your own, get yourself one of these Ghost Drive pedals from Stu Mac. They're really good, man. I have to say, I was really blown away. I didn't expect it to turn out as good as it did, and I'm really having a blast playing it. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. I've been talking for about an hour. We got to save some for next week. So I want to wish you guys a fantastic Sunday. If you're in Canada, have a wonderful Canada Day tomorrow. Enjoy yourself. Take some time to relax. Play your guitars, play your amplifiers. And next week you guys are celebrating the 4th of July, so have a fantastic 4th of July celebration. We'll regroup next Sunday right here on Addicted to Gear. We'll talk about everything that happened, all the exciting stuff during our time away, and hopefully we'll be able to have some other great stuff to talk about. Shane says, Tony, I'll ask my wife, Tony. Let's see what she says. Okay, Shane, good luck with that one. Gear Junkie 35 says, my collection has exploded over the last 4 years. Afraid to do a full count. 300 plus for sure. 300 plus what? Please don't tell me guitars. If you're telling me guitars, I'm going to like faint right here, man. Hopefully it's just, guitars and pedals, maybe something like that. That makes sense. All right, guys, have a wonderful week. It was a pleasure talking with you guys. Please stay tuned for more videos on my channel. I'm always looking forward to your comments on those, and we'll be talking again. All right, stay safe. See you guys soon. Have a fantastic one.